this Voting Act thing today, honestly, was it's one of the things I wanted to see happen most. And the House passed the SAVE Act last fall, which would fix the voting. There's almost no way it'll pass the Senate with the filibuster. But that's the next crazy thing, question eventually that's going to come up is it time to finally eliminate the filibuster? I think so. And one of the reasons I think so is because it's actually unconstitutional. It's a Senate rule. It's not in the Constitution. The filibuster was created in the Senate by some deal they made, I don't know, 70, 80 years ago to give the minority party more power. But what it did is it really slowed down Congress and really stopped Congress from being effective. And because of the filibuster, we now, when we get mandates like right now with Trump, we got very few things that get passed into law. And that's kind of purposeful, but it's wrong. And the ultimate, the president has veto power. So if the Senate passes something that goes against what the president would want, then he can veto it. And then they have to do 2/3 against him. But it always was meant to be, the Congress was always meant to be democratic. It was always meant to be the House could pass something by a single vote. The Senate could pass something by a single vote. And then it goes by the president, gets signed. And then even after all that, the judiciary, the Supreme Court is there and can strike down the law if they rule it unconstitutional. That is the checks and balances. We're not supposed to have the checks and balances in the Senate. They're not supposed to have their own checks and balances. That's insane. And I used to be a fan of the filibuster. And yes, it has slowed things down even under Democrats. And I'm thankful for that. But let's be honest. If we had no filibuster in the first Trump term, we would have gotten more laws passed. And then, you know what? They could have overturned them under Biden. What would have really changed? The Senate could effectively change laws faster under Trump now. So it just slows everything down so much. It makes it so the only laws that get passed are really big laws that actually have bipartisan. And you know what? I don't care about being bipartisan anymore. I really don't. We won. We should get to remake this country in our image. And if we suck at it and we fall apart, the Democrats will have their chance again because nobody will like what we're doing. But I just don't see how that is. So I think Senate, it's time to get rid of the filibuster. I really do. The filibuster is, it's just no bueno. It's no bueno. And right now, if we had no filibuster, the Senate could be rocking out, like working on these executive orders. It could be getting the Voting Rights Acts passed. It could be getting the budget passed so much faster. Everything would be so much better. It really would be. In says lawmakers will use the budget reconciliation process to overcome said filibuster can be used to enact tax spending and debt limit changes. Oh, I know. Lone Star, you're absolutely right. But they only get to use that once a year, as far as I know. And it always has to be budget oriented. So yeah, they can get that done. But when I said the budget, I meant like what they just did with the continuing resolution. That could have been filibustered. That's why Schumer capitulating was a big deal. They can do this on the debt ceiling. They can filibuster that. So there's lots of things they can still filibuster regarding the budget. In every other law, like social law, they can filibuster. It's insane. It's outdated and it's time for it to go. The filibuster, the more you think about it, if you really break it down, you really study our Constitution, and you really think about administration, election, it really doesn't make any sense why it's there, except for it slows Congress down and it defangs Congress. Remember, Congress is Article 1 of the Constitution. Congress is actually meant to be the most powerful branch of the government. Why? Because it's the most representative of the people. But the executive, which is Article 2 of the Constitution, has become the most powerful. A lot of that started with FDR, but it also became a big deal because Congress neutered themselves with the filibuster, among other things. So It really doesn't line up with our Constitution to have the filibuster. It just doesn't.